And that's right. So there we are. Better put that out there. So, everyone, I hope you can hear me. This is magical. Which one are we looking at here? Is that one? Is that one there? So, let's look at it this way. Here we are. So, I don't know if anyone can check if you can hear me, because I don't want to be talking to myself. That'd be pretty shit, wouldn't it? I've got an hour for this, so I'll give myself an hour to do this on a Saturday, and it's meant to be, I think, a Wednesday. But I think it's Wednesday. I can't remember what day it is, but I said it's going to be the same day each week, and that's what I'm doing. So this is mainly for my benefit, not anyone else's. So if you get anything from it, great. Sing along and let's walk together. If not, you don't have to be here. That's fine. Well, I'm looking. I'm just checking if I'm making sound or not. Am I making sound? I must be. Yes. No. Yes. There you go. So we're talking family law. We're talking family courts. And we're talking what a week, right? So this week I've had. This week it's been pretty mental, and we've got another mental one. Is it ever not going to be mental? That's what I think to myself. Is it ever going to be like? Does it ever not be mental? I mean, like, there's always something somewhere going on. Does that make sense? And because of that, it's like, well, how can you put it? It's always caving in, and there's always something to do, I suppose. But then some things are more crazy than others. Some cases are more crazy than others, but it takes a lot out of you. But me and the cats are cool, and that's what got me thinking about watching Scratch parent Wi-Fi, because Wi-Fi is learning how to walk now and talk in cat world, I suppose. But she seems to have found itself, and it's definitely a she as well, which is a bit of a bummer, because we're meant to get that one spayed as well. It's going to cost money. So, like, she eats all sorts of stuff, this little cat. But then I've realised watching them both, they talk to each other. So cats have a language, right? They have a language, and ultimately, this language, right? They like purring and all that sort of stuff. Even in George. And I've got your stuff I need to send you actually. We even with cat language. I don't know what it's doing down here now, but it's somewhere. The other day I kicked it. The other day I kicked a little, and it's only like that big, like literally tiny. So it's found it somewhere because Scratch is sat down there like I'm eating something. So Scratch, can you find the cat, please? Because it's doing my head in. But then, yeah. So it's quite cute, because you can see she's got the maternal stuff. So Scratch has matured since having the baby, and she can see herself. And because it's only been 3 weeks. 3 weeks. Is that how old it is? 3 weeks, something like that. So like the speed in which the cat's grown, and then it's walking in the cat world, talking and being cheeky and stuff. That's must be like 3 years old now. So yeah, I have to be careful when it's dark. Because the little thing could be like anywhere. And the other day I said I kicked it, accidentally, obviously. It's still alive, so it's good. Ultimately, where was I going to go with this? Where was I going to go with that? Okay, that's what I need to talk about. We've got. I think it's, what is it? The presumption, and I've got a number of people who. What are you attacking me for? I've got a number of people who are trying to. They're going to family court, and they're literally wanting 50-50, or they're wanting the whole lives with. And it's like, why don't we automatically get the presumed fathers having the children? Because it's very rare, unless there's something really bad that's happened, like neglectful on the mother's side. I don't think I can think of one where it's been automatically agreed, and they've had their contested hearing, they've had everything, and it's been awarded to the dad without having to be sort of proven that something was really drastically bad on the mum's side. It shouldn't come to that fact that it should be really bad, something really bad to make sure that the dad gets the custody. But then that goes back to this philosophy of when the children are under 4 years old, that they automatically, and don't get me wrong, I do believe to a certain extent you've carried the child, and watching Scratch and Wi-Fi sort of get on with each other, you can see why children would need and do need their mums, especially at a young age if they're being breastfed and that sort of stuff, and the mums just carried them. But then when you're going through court process, it's like it shouldn't be a struggle. It shouldn't be. It's like men are literally like, we have to prove that we're not Homer Simpsons. Does that make sense? It should be 50-50 normal, so women should think 10 times more about divorce. I think so. I agree. I think people need to family, the thought of family, and how easy it is for people to separate or just have a baby and then take the pill and get rid of the baby or whatever. If you're married and you're in a relationship and you're having a child, then you should be it should be presumptuous 50-50, and that's how it should be. And that leads me on to the next point of the family courts being messed up, because they're messed up in terms of, we all know they're messed up in the Western world. They're totally messed up. But what I mean by that is how can I put it? If it was presumed, if we didn't have family courts, so if we took away solicitors, because I don't believe solicitors are cause any do have any benefit to family court in the Western world at all, right? At all. I think solicitors will make things 100 times worse because they get rewarded to make it worse, because the higher the conflict, the more longer the work, the more complex it is, the more they're going to make money out of it. So. And I think once you see a blueprint, once you see the pattern, and I think one of the things I'm gifted with is being able to see patterns and stuff and spot patterns quite quickly. And when you can see, and I found the pattern and I see stuff, and that's how I help people get through the process. Because you go through that door, you're going to get that option. You're going to go through that door, you're going to get that option. And it shouldn't be that that's what I'm saying. So it shouldn't be that we had to work so hard to be not Homer Simpsons. It should be, we are there. It's presumed that way, but it's not. Society doesn't have it that way. It still has it that mums are naturally more maternal, right? So that's one thing. But then if you change the setup of family court, so you didn't have a family court. Family court was there for really bad shit, right? And this is really strict. Whenever I say this to Kafkas, they're like, oh, that's a bit strict. But it should be, if you separate, then you automatically go, if you have to work together to get 50-50. If they presume 50-50, if you can't do 50-50, so I couldn't do shared care equals shared care because I was working in retail. In the age of Lila, she needed to have someone there to look after her. So an equal shared care fair order for me when I was living in North London and Lila was in South London wouldn't have worked. So what should have been, when I was in South London, it should have been, we should have been able to work from 50-50, and if I couldn't do that, then we agree on what it should be, and it's agreed between the parties, and it's agreed financially between the parties. And you might need a mediation, and you might need mediators to help you with that, because you're talking about money and you're talking about kids, and it's an emotional topic. But the level of the communication is what's needed. You've had a communication breakdown within the relationship anyway. For one reason or another, you stopped communicating. That's why the relationship's ended. No matter what way you look at it, no matter how you paint it up, it's always going to be down to communication. So there's a breakdown in communication. What you need to learn to do is be able to communicate again with each other. The problem you have is you can't communicate with each other properly because you spent so long seeing the worst in each other, seeing the negative in each other. So anytime you speak, anytime you feel anything, it's just negative, because all you're doing is spewing out negative all the time. So because you've spoken all the negative all the time and you're seeing negative all the time, all you're going to get is negative. So you need a mediator there, not a solicitor, a mediator, a trained counsellor, mediator, to try and help you work through the differences. That should not require family court. People go into family court and they're able to communicate and they're able to talk to each other. But then once solicitors get involved, no, go for the solicitor. And then it's like, well, hang on a minute. We were talking and fine a minute ago. Why are we now going for a solicitor? And it's like, well, hang on a minute. And then it's solicitors who say, no, don't talk to him. It's a risk. It's dangerous. We have to. And it's solicitors that will keep you on that same process and keep the other side on that same process. Or like, no, don't talk to him. And it's like, hang on a minute. The communication, where it might have been terrible, where it might be shit, where it might be whatever, I accept. There may need to be a break in communication. And again, a mediator can come in and do that and say put a break in that and stop the communication, and then work through the process of making sure that both are communicating effectively with each other. But that's a training process. That's a coaching process. That's not a punishment process. That's a benefit to the children. But we paint it up to be a punishment, and then because we're punishing people for doing literally nothing wrong other than different level of communication is broken down for whatever reason. And I'm saying this because I'm saying it from the view that there's no official criminal offence or crime being committed. Yeah, and That's how it should be. So if there's crimes being committed, and then that's criminal, and that needs to stay in criminal, and criminal can be family, because domestic abuse and violence is criminal. Whether it goes on behind, that's them. That's what happens. So, and it's when things can't be proven in criminal that things happen, and then they drop down into family court. But that's when it should be in family court, because it's dropped down, because it's not beyond reasonable doubt, and whatever they need for them, that's when it drops into family court. That's criminal. That's there. If it's not criminal, it doesn't go into family court, because the moment it goes into family court, that's when you get your allegations coming up. That's when you get this coming up. And let's be honest, right? At the end of it all, if it's that criminal, if it's that bad, if you've done something that bad, you'd be going to prison. Yeah, and if you're being looked at for anything untoward, then that would be in criminal. And if you can't be proven, that's criminal. So, and that needs to be proven, and that's how it needs to be. But then ultimately, if you then had this set up like this, and made sure it was about communicating and fixing each other, and communicating rather than fighting, because the solicitors want fighting, they'll tell you to think more unthinkable. Even I say, when people are saying to me, well, what do I do, Jason? What do I do when they're throwing all this shit at me? What do I do? I'm like, well, you can throw shit back, or we can just tell more of the story. And they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, they're telling the story from how they perceive it at that particular moment in time. They're telling it from there. They're telling it from that point. That's from their bad memory. That's what they're saying it's going to come from. So from their experience, what happened in that experience? Oh, this and this and this happened. Okay, so you told me this and this. This person's saying from there. So let's rewind the story. Let's rewind it 2 weeks. Let's rewind it 3 weeks, and let's fucking say, look, this is a build-up. This is not just it starts here. There's a build-up to that story. There's something that's happened. There's a pre-story. There's a preamble, and that's what's built to this point. That's built to the crescendo. Once you tell your story, you're not throwing mud. You're telling your story, and you're telling your truth, and you're rewinding it a little bit. And then that's when by rewinding it, you don't have to think about extra additional allegations to throw at each other, because what you'll find is if there's been a build-up, there's been a crescendo, it's been because there's been a build-up of stuff that's happened. So you don't have to think, oh, well, she's throwing this at me, what do I throw back? Or he's throwing this at me, what do I throw back? It's not about that. Just stick to whatever allegations come your way, stick to those allegations, rewind the story a little bit, and I guarantee you'll be surprised that it's a build-up. Yeah, and then that's what you do. You tell your truth. We got 50, and then women had to fight for equality. We're here fighting for our equality. That's exactly it. I think it's exactly that. But if you fight for your equality in the wrong way, like we do, like the system's set up to make you fight it the wrong way, like the way I don't know, people do. Your case is going to change the world, and then you get told by the far right your case is unique or whatever. It's not unique. We know it's not unique, but think you're going to make a stand by one little case. It's not going to make the world at all. That's nothing. What will change? What will change is over 500 people storming Parliament. That's not I'm not suggesting people should do that, but what I'm saying is that's how you'd get change, because otherwise you'd have the politicians, red or blue or green or whatever, they're all the same. They're never in charge. They're not the people in charge. There's someone above them. Gary, evening, sir. And the family court is money pit by design, and it's a money pit by design. And even that's as far as they are these QLRs, the qualified legal representative, right? There's none of them about. There's none of them about anywhere. Like literally, they've even fallen down the back of the sofa. What are you saying? But anyway, they've even fallen down the back of the sofa, or they just don't want to come to work. Because the QLRs are literally, I've not had a single case since these been in place, and there's not been a single one available. So that's like, they're even not getting paid enough money. And then I was thinking about this the other day, that like these people who look down their noses at us, these people who we're supposed to trust, in these people we trust, these servants of the court, these solicitors that serve no place in family court. These people who you entrust to say, like, I remember going through this, and someone said something similar to this the other few months ago, and it was like, I'm speaking to a solicitor now. I'm speaking to a solicitor. Someone's going to give her some sense. Someone's going to give him, and I say it all the time, someone's going to give him a solicitor. You're going to go there, you get some sense out of this person, and you're like, you don't get it. You're like, anything you get, it gets worse. It's worse. It's like, what the fuck? Am I on a different planet? Am I on a different, like? It's pure gaslighting as it is, and it's like she's telling porky pies, or he's telling porky pies, and you're reinforcing it. And it's like you're left there scratching your head when you're first going through it. When you're left like thinking, is this is this real? And then you find out, then you realise that these people who are doing that, they're helping people that like you. So the ones that are against you are helping people like you the next day or in the same day. And they're giving sympathy. They're saying, oh, I'm so sorry you're going through this terrible, terrible, terrible. But the day before that, or that morning of that, they're helping the other person get the kids away from the same person. But it might not be you, but it's someone else. That's what makes me laugh. It's like they're giving you all the sympathy in the world. Yeah, it's terrible, it's terrible, it's terrible. And then like next phone call, they're helping someone else keep their kid away from. It's like there's a bit of a contradiction. It's like such a contradiction, like massively contradiction. Like, come here, come here, look, come here, you little shit. Oh, there we are. Look. Say hello to the camera. Look. Oh, look. Oh, look at that. Look. You want to get up here? Oh, look at the camera. Ow. Come on. One long little thing. Little thing. Look at that, wasn't it? This is our family. This is my family. So this is Scratch. Scratch is the mum, and she's parenting. She's doing a good job with the old parenting. She's doing good. And then your little wife, I was shitting it a little bit. I didn't expect that, did he? It's a she though. It is definitely a she. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. So where was I? So yeah, sorry. So I digress. So ultimately, if you didn't have solicitors in the big scheme of it, you wouldn't have the conflict going on for as long as it does. And I guarantee it, if you had counsellors doing it and had a different approach, where it's resolution and solution, and if you didn't have the resolution and solution, if you didn't have the and the parties can't do, and if the parties can't fucking co-parent and they can't talk to each other and put aside their feelings for the disdain they might have for each other, just to put on to show their kids how to respect and get on with people that they don't get on with, then that's a problem. And I think that needs to be dealt with, and that needs to be dealt with. And in my world, that should be dealt with. If the parents can't do it, and this is what needs to change, but if the parents can't do it, the children go straight into foster care. And it's like if you put that tactic in place, if the parents actually cared for their children at all, and that was in place and that was the law, then ultimately you would find that you're separating, and as you're separating, as you're separating, you've got to make sure you're doing right for your kids, and the only thing that would avoid that from happening would be criminal if there's criminal stuff going on. That's the only thing that would be avoided. So it's criminal arrest or criminal stuff, and then that's the only thing that would stop that from happening. Otherwise, it'd be presumed 50-50, work out your differences through mediation, showing your kids that you're able to communicate and you're able to do what's right for them. That in turn sorts out. If you can't do that, don't have the kids, and then they get castrated, or whatever you call it. Like cats get spayed, I think, and then the women and men should then be not allowed to have any more children. That's for sure, because for me that it says that's the rule, that's the law. So you want to fuck around, you want to have kids, you want to bring people into the world, you need to make sure that you value. Men should not be getting married. That's another thing. Men should not get married until they're 40. Until they're 40, everyone's thrown into marriage, thrown into having kids when they're young. I don't know why, man. I don't know why. I think I'm 43 or whatever, 44 this year. I don't know. I don't know. Can't remember. So ultimately, I can't remember. So that's a bit of shit, isn't it? 43, 44. Ultimately, I've gone and felt these things and had this maturity about me for a few years. So it's like we only mature and we actually only learn about ourselves and realise who we are when we're 40 plus, based on my own personal experience. Yeah. So what we should do, we shouldn't be getting married, we shouldn't be getting anything, we shouldn't be doing anything until at least 40. That way, you know who you are, so you're not going to change. We're getting married too young, and we're getting pushed into marriage too young, and pushed into having children too young, and because of that, we're bringing up children, and don't even know who we are yet, and then the children are being grown up, and it's a cycle, and I get it. Someone said to me earlier, well, we never used to live as long. Back as we do now. But the fact is, I'm not talking about the past. Yeah, the past is the way that we that's how it is. We learn from it. but we need to be able to learn from it. And right now, we don't learn from it. But there's nothing we do. There's nothing we do that we've learned from the past. There's nothing they put in place that fixes the problem that is in family court. Also, financials need to be changed, parent alienation, because financially beneficial. Everything's set up. Everything's set up where there's a winner or a loser. Everything is set up where someone has to win and someone has to lose. If it wasn't set up that way, you wouldn't get that result. If it was set up as a win would be when you manage to work out your differences through mediation, through talking to each other, and doing what's right for your kid. And if you can't do that, like I said, men have to get snipped and women have to have plugs in them. Yeah, because that's the only way forward. And if I was Prime Minister, that's what I'd be putting in. I'd be like, that's going to fix family courts, because that's going to make people value. It's going to make people value their relationships. It's going to make people value that if they're bringing someone into I'm not saying it's a magical feeling. Yeah, it's a magical. Only the winners should be the children. Absolutely, bang on. Yeah, because that's what's going on. You look at it. You look at what's wrong with the kids. You look at everything, and it's everyone's blaming everyone else. I'm like, no, look, it's us. It's us as parents. It's what we've allowed. It's what we tolerated. It's what we accepted, subconsciously or consciously. Yeah, it's what we've done. It's what we've had. What they've experienced as they've grown up. Because what's happened? You think about it. People are living longer, right? People are living longer. So, but what's happened is people are living longer. But then the child thing, that's not being elongated, is it? So how long does childhood go on for? That's always been 16 for while I've been alive. It's 16, but I don't know what it was like historically. But then obviously kids were younger. They were getting married when they were younger. They were getting married, weren't they? When they were like being married off when they were like 12 and 13. So that's a fucked up world, proper fucked up world. But then that's history. That's history. But ultimately, they've not got to 16. But then that should be even bigger, because life has gone on, and because we're growing longer, the age needs to be higher. So you need to be like, you can't get married until you're like 25, or you can't have any children until you're 30. That'd work, wouldn't it? Parent responsibility is what's used. Exactly. No. Look, this is what happened to me the other day. This is what I got pissed off. I fucked up the other day. Right? I really fucked up. Right. So I literally I got fucking so pissed off. So I used to get every time I go to a gig, I'd get Lila a ticket. We went for a stage of I'd go to where I want to go, and then I'd get a ticket to wherever she wanted to go, and we'd take it in turns. It's going to make me emotional saying this, and then that stopped, and then she started saying, I don't want to go, blah blah blah. And then I know why. It's because her mum put to her like she wants an easy life, and she gets told off, and she gets put into it's difficult for her. She's trying to keep her mum happy, and she loves her mum, So, and that should be how it is, yeah, and that should be how it is. But her mum doesn't like the fact that she loves me, or she has a relationship with me. So anything I post, anyone who knows, blah blah, anything I post will be put in the bin. If it's got my name on it, it won't get through. Anything at all is cut straight out. And so I've said to Lila, look, you don't have to worry about this. I'm always going to be here, blah blah blah. The most difficult conversation I've ever had, ever. Yeah, but I had to have it, and that's made our relationship stronger, because I could have battled that, and I could have no, you have to come with me. No, you have to come with me. And then that's going to make Lila resent me, because this is my dilemma. This is what I was faced with. So I could either keep doing that and push Lila, effectively push her away from me, because she'd get punished when she'd be going home, or by getting interrogated, all that sort of stuff. So I said, right, you know where I'm at. You got your friends here. I was in Watford at the time, and then that was how it was. And then lockdown happened as well, which didn't help. Well, it sort of did, but it didn't. But that's the thing. I've got that relationship with her, and I'm lucky enough to have that. Right? I'm lucky enough to have that. I've got. What would it be? What would it be like if it's all what ifs and maybes? That's what it is. It's like you can't tell. You wouldn't know. You can't tell. Same as if I've listened to Lila on the day of the court, the night of the 2-day hearing. When me and Lindsay had on our first ever final hearing for the house and for everything, and it was like, Lila calls me up and says she wants to live with her mum. I was like, fine. So I went to court the next day. I said, look, I don't know what the outcome's going to be, but whatever it needs to be, Lila lives with her mum. And the judge went, oh, what? And I swear I was going to win that. But if I hadn't listened to Lila, I'd have had the house. And I would have got it. And that was after such a poor showing as well at the very start with non-moral and everything. Because the reality surfaced, her true colours surfaced. And no matter what happened, no matter all these court hearings afterwards, it always surfaced. And it's always the same at the start. At the start, we're always the same. It's like, you're on the back foot again because the professionals are doing what they do, and that's what they do. And then you're like, fucking, so I just got used to it. Because I've done it so many times with them, I just got used to it. And I just forgot about the professionals. Literally leave them out of it. Let them do what they need to do. Let them say what they need to say. Play, work with them, do what they need to do. It's not their job. They're ticking boxes. You leave everything. They're still going off the philosophy that you're a bad person. And let's not forget, the stats are there, speak for themselves. 97% of men are guilty of domestic abuse or domestic violence. And that's a fact. That's stats. But I'm not sure how many, they don't shout about how many women are guilty of it, but then still, that's by the by. Men, we're not talking about women, we're talking about men. And talking about, that's the reality. So we get presumed, every man gets presumed that they get guilty. And so someone said to me the other day, yes, but I'm one of the 3%. And I was like, yeah, of course, we all are, all of us are. Yeah, and that's what we all say. But the reality is, we're all guilty. Every single person, everyone in any single relationship is guilty of some form of domestic abuse. Absolutely, 100%. And the professionals are aware of it. They know that. They know that there's an element of domestic abuse in every single relationship. So that's why it's, for me, owning your shit, these principles that we sort of talk about and I keep banging on about, owning your shit is really, really important, because instantly, fucking from the get-go, you're going to see who's real and who's not. And if the people on the other side are taking no responsibility whatsoever and literally laying the blame all on your fucking doorstep, as they do, it's still for 10 years, it's still the same for me, then ultimately, they're gonna. I think from that moment onwards, you have got you're on the front foot. Yeah, from then onwards, you then just got to play. You got to play it out, and you keep owning your shit, and you be humble when you need to be humble, and then you sacrifice. You show willingness. You show that you're doing the right thing for your children. You're willing to sacrifice your feelings for the sake of your child. And if the other person's still not doing it, and they're still not doing it after all this time, they're still not doing it. And then you fucking carry on. You show how you're willing to compromise. So you sacrifice. You're willing to compromise as well. And then you're being pragmatic about stuff. And then you literally, you're doing all of that, and you do it all really well at the right times because it's the right thing to do, not because you have to do it, because you want to do it, because it's the right thing to do. Then you get it's taking your child-focused ways to another level, and that's the principle behind things, and that's why. But we don't. No one really goes into court initially like that. They go into court angry, and rightly so. You've got to be angry. I think everyone's got the right to be angry if you've got false allegations thrown at you, and then you've got you're out of your house, and you've got to. I was homeless, and then you are stuck. On people's sofas, and you get people, and you're not seeing your kid or your family. That you're going to be angry, you're going to be furious, you're going to be like, it hurts, and you never really ever recover from it, ever. I think you got a different. You come back with a different type of strength, a strength that is stronger because you're invincible, because you can't face something that's already broken. Yeah, and I think that, and I was saying to someone that earlier to someone today, it was like, I don't care anymore about. I give love. I care about giving love, and I care about helping people, and that's what I care about. That's, for me, that's my purpose. And people, and it's, interested in speaking to people. They know I do more. I'm not like your average sort of Mackenzie friend. I'm a lot more than that, because I do a lot more than that. Whether the emotional stuff, and people don't know. They assess, they assume through their own eyes, and that's because they only do what they do at that level, whereas I do different stuff at a different level, and that for me is huge. And it's like, when people are calling me up and they're going through this shit, and I'm like, I just feel it. I think it's an empathy. I can feel their pain and shit, and it's like, I just wish I could. But I know by being there for them and not judging them and making sure that they know that how they're feeling is fine and it's okay, because people, the professionals, the solicitors, they are playing with your psychology. They are fucking around with your psychology. I had a guy the other day who didn't get the greatest HAFCAS report, and on paper it looked awful. And then you got the solicitors sending him a sarcastic email saying, "Oh, well, you're supposed to do this, this, and this." It's like, hang on a minute, that's just like you're just kicking the man in the bollocks, and you're kicking him in the bollocks just because you can. You know what I mean? Expecting to get a fucking nasty result, no doubt as well. That's the reality. He didn't get it because that's what we do. The gift is the game is not the game. Yeah, the game, the gift. The game is the gift is not to give them what they want. They're trying to presume you to be someone you're not. And you know, we're all angry. We're all. I've as young men, as people, as depending on your childhood, depending on what it is, we are hunter gatherers. Like, look at cavemen. Look at what they do. They sent men out to get the food, go out hunting, whereas the women stayed at home in the caves, cooking the food that was hunted for them. Yeah. So then that's the reality. So that's going back right to the caveman times. So if that's how it should be, then that's not how it should be right now because times change. But ultimately, it needs to be an element of. Oh, I've lost myself. I don't know. I saw some comment on here. Abuse of human nature. The definition of abuse is flawed by design, since we did not start living in utopia. Exactly. No one lives in utopia. That's the thing. No one lives in that world. But if you look at what they're teaching the kids at school, and I've made a point of learning about what they're teaching Lila about what constitutes as abuse and what they and I get it. Like wolf whistling and whatever, and sometimes they probably do it, and they're kids and whatever, and it's like, and I get that, and it's awful, and it's wrong, and women may feel degraded by it, but there's some women that enjoy it and like it, so it's like, but then they class that as abuse, and it's like, and so that's what they class as abuse, so that's what we have to say now is abuse, and therefore it's abuse if you, and they can press charge on you for it. So it's crazy to think that what was acceptable back in beyond utopia. So that's what I'm saying. So it goes back to this point of everything classes as abuse. Everything is abuse because that's by nature of the relationship. If when I was getting dragged around the shops and I didn't want to go shopping, that's abuse. If they withhold sex and use sex as a ploy to either get you to do something you don't want to do, or or they stop giving you sex or you stop giving your partner sex because it's punishment. That's abuse. Oh, so again, I get it. But it's because someone says it's abuse. It's because they say it's abuse. Is it really though? Because it's surely it's somebody's body, and it's if they choose to give you sex or not. But suppose if they're using it as a ploy, as a manipulation tactic. So again, it's messed up. It's like it's every single scenario. I get it, but at the same point, if you look at it on the surface for what it is, at surface level, everything's flawed. Everything is flawed, and because there's an argument that it's an argument that it shouldn't be. Nothing worse than not being able to see your kids because some narcissistic person decided to use them with child assist. Yep. So service is absolutely flawed, useless, and all this. Look, I've got people who can't even go to. They can't go to social services. They can't go to the police. They can't go to social services. Can't go to CAFCAS. They can't do anything. So then the place that they're left to go to, if the child comes bruised or anything like that, is to the hospital. And let the hospital do the safeguarding calls. And even then they get punished. And because they say you shouldn't be doing safeguarding. Like literally, how many times have I had genuine dads do genuine child welfare concerns, checks on their child, and then they're getting pulled up in court saying that's a terrible thing to be doing. Because they're concerned about their child. Yeah, but your child's... I get it, your child's not... But maybe they don't care. Maybe they don't know. Who are you to tell this dad who has got genuine concerns and fears how he should or should not be thinking or feeling? But then they're quite quick to put you into a category of a mental health issue. And it's like, oh, wait a minute, so I'm molesting my child and I'm worried about my child because of X, Y, and Z reason, and now I've got a mental health issue. Okay, that's cool. And that's all because I'm a dad who's trying to care for my child. Same as I've got multiple people who have got various police stuff going on. And it's like, as a male victim of domestic violence or a male victim of domestic abuse, in whatever format or category, they don't get the same support as what a woman would get. I've got four men now who are have got criminal proceedings going on for being relationship-wise and stuff. And ultimately, none of them have got a valid envelope through the door with saying victim support in it. None of them. And it's like, none of them get phone calls. None of them got a phone call from anyone from victim support yet. And again, it's like, but they want people. How are they going to? How do they? Men say to me, and I'll say to them, "That's abuse, man. That's abuse." And I'm saying to them, "Yeah, but no one's going to listen to me. No one's going to talk to me. No one does anything." And they don't. And they don't. You go to the police and you say something, exactly the same thing on the other foot, shooting on the other foot. You'd be getting nicked for it. You'd be getting nicked. Over the couple of summers ago, when things were kicking off with in my situation, with my own ex-wife and whatnot, and it wasn't between me. It was between my daughter and her. But then she chased. My ex chased Lila up some stairs with a knife apparently, and said she was going to kill her and she was going to kill me. And it's like, that's a threat to kill. And I sent it to the policeman. And then you know what he said? He said, "Well, yeah, Lila hasn't reported it. So there's nothing we can do." What the fuck? She's a child. I'm her dad. I'm reporting it. If And it's like, but if her mum says something about me, and I've been nicked, and her mum says something about me, and then and Lila hasn't said anything, I'm the one getting nicked. So, is the system biased and set up against us? The answer has to be no. Unfortunately, I still have to say no, because anyone can say anything about anyone. That's the reality. It just so happens that we are men, and it happens to a lot to us because it's our reality. You can get anyone can say anything about anyone, and it doesn't matter if it's male or female. Yeah. So in terms of gender bias potentially, if it was just in family court, but anyone can say anything about anyone, regardless of a home situation or anything. So I could say to I'd phone the police up and say, I don't know, someone I don't even know, just know the name, pick a name off the internet, and then put a thing on Facebook and say that person has just kidnapped an elephant, and then off the back of that, they'd have to go and get arrested for kidnapping an elephant, even though there's no elephant. And it's I could say this person that I've never met has got a gun. Oh, that person got a gun, and they're going to go. I guarantee you, they have the SWATs all over them. And I've even had a client who's had that. I've had the client that's had that. Literally, he saw a little green thing on his thing, and he's like, "What's going on there?" He's like, "Well, there's like loads of police there," and that's because someone had said that he'd had a gun. And he didn't have a gun. Didn't, obviously. The police haven't done checks and whatnot. Didn't have nothing. But that's how crazy it is, because it's messed up. It's just messed up. So, but it's not just. It's because of our situations. It's our situations that make this happen. So because this is the world that we know. Same as if we weren't in this world. So how many people come to me and say, "Jason, you know what? I thought father's rights were just like a thing. I didn't realise it was actually just like." A thing. I thought people were just getting up and buildings for fun and doing what they're doing and dressed up in silly. They're up to something. But they thought fathers of justice were up on suits. They thought they were just that. But now they're in this world. They can see how evil it is and how crazy it is. And it's like, you have to walk a certain walk. You can't. Again, what you'd normally say in a normal situation, i.e., oh great, you got the weekend. The weekend's here, Sally. You got no school the weekend. You got no school. Do you know what? That gets used against you in family court. Not encouraging education. La la la. What? How? Since when? What? How, are you enjoying the weekend? You got no school? Yeah, we've got no school. How is that not encouraging education? But it gets used against you. They use your words against you. They frustrate you. The solicitors will frustrate the life out of you. I'm so guilty of this, right? They frustrate the life of you. And then you've applied, like dropping a few bombs in there, not giving a shit. You're just fucking going in. I've did this many times. I've learned to tone it down over the years, like literally massively tone it down and make it like professional. But literally, when I first started doing it, I was just dropping them. They were like, bringing them all. See, this is the type of person we have here. And it's like, oh my god, literally everything I said was just used against me. And so then obviously you learn to tone it down and shit. But still, I've learned to tone it down. And I'm just very direct with what I say, and I don't pull no punches or do it in a polite way. And that's what you have to do. And I educate my clients to do the same when they are working with me, because That's what you have to do. And then we've got here. So we're judged by standards on and the perfect world doesn't exist. The perfect world. This is the thing. The people who write these laws, the people who make this shit up, the people who make us go through this stuff, they don't live in this world. And then they want you to get to a world that doesn't exist. Where's Wi-Fi? Where's Wi-Fi? Where's Wi-Fi? What have you done with Wi-Fi? Where's Wi-Fi? Have you eaten her? Where has she gone? I can hear her. I can hear her sniffing. But anyway, they set these standards, and you can't get them. You can't get there, but you have to try. You have to try. You have to show willingness. You have to show willingness to try. That's what you have to do. My ex was withholding my son purely because I have access to another son. Again, this is your situation is awful there, but that's again. They live in. I think there's obviously people out there, right? There's people. I do what I do, and I try and people. And there's only mums and dads who don't like me because I've helped their partners or whatever. But then the reality is like you can't. If you're doing what's right for your children, and men will instinctively, we're always going to be more, I think, maybe more impulsive, fight or flight. Depends on how you've been brought up or whatever. But I think we're always, again, it goes back to hunter-gatherers with cavemen, how it was when we were cavemen. So that's going back that way. That's why I got to that point earlier, because that makes sense. Not just how I got there, but because that's how it is. So if we are then that way, but then they don't accept us. They don't accept us being maternal. So we can't have it both ways. But at the same point, mums can actually have it both ways because they can go out to work and get the equality that they wanted and come out to work, go to work and stuff. And so they get the best of both in that aspect. Thinking about them. But men don't get given that same appreciation. They don't get given the right or the freedom to be able to say that they've got that maternal instinct. I've got that. Like I'm sure every man has. Whether they want to let it surface or not is up to them. But I'm tuned into Lila. Like we had a falling out yesterday when falling out. But I told her I was a bit upset. I let myself down a little bit with some of what I said. But she had to hear it. I can't bring it back. So anyway, but we've spoken today, and I got even more upset because. Like I said earlier, when I used to get tickets for, going back to that point, we used to get gigs for everything, for both. And then that stopped. And that stopped because of Lindsay or whatever. And then now, the other day I asked her, do you want to try and get your ticket? And she said no. And then this morning she's like, did you get a ticket? And I said no. But then what could come out of that is I know now what festivals she wants to go to next year. And hopefully that will be the start of that again, because she's saying she wants to go to a festival by herself, and I'm like, yeah, cool, but you have to learn to do that. You have to learn to go to a festival. You can't just turn up at a festival and say, oh, it's all good. You have to learn. Same as I learned to learn to walk and all that sort of shit. So hopefully next year we'll go to a festival. She won't stay in a tent or anything. So I said we'll do a hotel, but yeah, it's gonna be good. Hopefully we can hope. But because I said she can't keep living in her mum's shadow, and I mean that with the greatest respect to her mum. But then her mum needs to move on with her life. Same as I accept people will be upset and angry, and I know people who have got every right to be upset and angry at their ex-partners, even with as far as how they get treated when they're being shown no respect from their ex-partners, and that's mums, that's dads being dickheads to mums, equally as much as more dads obviously, but so the mums being idiots to the dads. But then that's all I know. It's difficult because people who are able to co-parent, and there's a fair few. I expect there's a fair few, and I know of a few families that have. They don't shout about it because it's just normal to them. It's normal. That's just their normality. They manage to have a sane normal, I bet you half of them, and this is the crazy thing, in our world, right, anyone who watches this, anyone who's watching this, anyone who's seeing this, in our world, of this separated families or separated from your kids and whatnot, like, this is what all consumes. It consumes you. It consumes every part of you. Like, it breaks you because, and even I said to, I wake up most mornings and I will call out Lila's name, and it's like, that never goes away. That's never going to stop. That's never going to stop. Yeah, I don't mean to do it. It just happens. Like, I get emotional when I think about not what I've missed, because I don't think about what I missed. I think about how lucky I am that I've had the relationship I have with Lila now, and that's with the minimal time that we've spent together. But then I get frustrated because I've got an order that says I should be having a lot more, but because I do what makes Lila's life easier right now. That's gonna imagine what I could do. Imagine what I could do if I've got that influence and I've had that positive influence on her there. Imagine what I could do if I was able to spend more time with her directly. And that's not to take anything away from her mum, because her mum has done a good job. We've both done a good job based on the time that we've had with our child. But then what lets her mum down is the fact that she hasn't allowed or doesn't allow me in the life. And that's what pissed me off yesterday, because vaccines and shit. And I tried saying, no, I don't want you having the vaccine. Lila's like, I might be going to school that day anyway. I'm like, still, but I don't want you having the vaccine. I'll fill the form in for the school. Mum's already done it. And because I don't know Lila's NHS number, Lila wouldn't give it to me because she doesn't want to upset her mum. Doesn't want her mum having a go at her. So I can't. And that's like, I can't. I'm not involved with your doctor. I don't know what doctors you're at. I know what school you're at, obviously. I don't know fuck all. I don't know nothing. I know literally fuck all. I know what she likes. I know everything else that's worth knowing, but just don't know the parenting type stuff. I suppose what I do know is parenting type stuff, because it's stuff that maybe her mum doesn't know. But ultimately, it's just not about who knows what. It's about who she feels comfortable going to. But I should be allowed to be involved with her education. I wasn't the school that she's going to now is one I suggested in the first place. But then she went to a different one because I suggested that one, so her mum has to put her somewhere else. That's how petty it is. That's what people are realising you're going to have to deal with. And I think I've got it easy. I've learned to just accept it until I get moments where I'm like, fucking, ugh, and it just pisses me off, because I should be able to do stuff. I'm helping people get that. I'm helping people get that. And I suppose Lila's at an age where, well, she's able to make her own choices anyway. So I suppose it's a bit late for me now. But I sort of regret. I don't know. Do I? If I battled a little bit harder, I don't know. Who knows? Can't change the past now. But there will be no repercussions. This is the thing. They will state their truth, and they'll say, this is how I feel, and this is what made me feel this way. And in some aspects, there's a certain extent of we have to accept that they see the world in their way, same as Lindsay sees the world in her way, and she saw our relationship however she saw it. I saw it a different way. I see it a different way. I still would protect Lindsay, and I still would, wouldn't let anything bad happen to her. And I can't say don't always think, would a meteor might come out of the sky and sort of just hit her on the foot sometimes, just to take away a big toe or something like that. Nothing too bad, just to give her a little bit of a warning. Can't say I've never had those sort of thoughts, but they're only for a moment. If you can't spend your time consumed by that. And I spent 7 years being angry about it. So again, you can't spend your time being angry about it. You just got to get on. And I think what I do, that's another reason I do what I do, is because I'm able to make sure that people get that relationship because they deserve it. We shouldn't have to go to it's ridiculous we're glorified babysitters sometimes. Some of us, that's all I was, a glorified babysitter. Yeah, but then again, how does it work? Because if you're working all the time anyway, that's what I was saying to someone. If you're working all the time, count the times that when your children at school for 5 hours a day, whatever it is, 6 hours a day, and then they come home from school. Are you home from school when you're home from school? No, I'm at work. Okay, so you're at work. What time do you finish work? I get home for work at 7 o'clock. So you get home for, how much time do you spend with your kids? About an hour. All right, so an hour, that's 7 hours a week, babe. But 5 hours a week during the week. I work some weekends as well. So what we're saying, so you work out the actual hours that you're actually spending with your children anyway. And then the guy was like, oh yeah, shit, so I'm not even spending 50% of my time with the children. No, you're not. So so why are we asking 50-50? Yeah, it's a good point. So so we're asking for 50-50 because we feel it's a natural thing to ask for. Well, otherwise we're going to look like we're not caring for our children. And then But it's not always the case. You can't always do that. So then you have to think about what's logical and what's right and what you can feasibly do. And then it's a different type of conversation, and it's a different type of argument as well. And then if still then you're showing that compassion, you're showing behaviours that are like logical and are in line with society and what people generally order, then you're all gravy, and that's what you do. That's how you need to work it. If you were going to fight for something more than what you'd normally get, then it's going to be a struggle. That's what. But it shouldn't be that. It shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that you actually have to fight for that. And that's a bit shit. Stay on the course. It will change. But 100%, Gary. 100% it will change. 100%. It will. I know for a fact it will. I behaved badly. There's everyone who I've helped from the beginning, like literally from the very, very beginning. Like they don't have this. They generally will get the. I will make sure that anything that I forgot, I try and make sure when I'm doing this, anything that took me 7 years to realise, that when I was going through court and I should have asked everything I asked for at the end. I should have asked for at the very beginning, and then I'd be done with it. But I didn't. So it's quite useful every time that Lindsay went back to court, because every time I got a little bit more until I got to the point where I got what I've got, but I still didn't have it because no one can manage her. Because again, you put her to prison. Send her to prison would be the only thing that she could do that would be beneficial to everyone, to teach her a lesson and have a decent self-reflection. Yeah, because she needs some time by herself. Oh, any angry person, anyone who can stay angry, this is it. Anyone who can stay angry and hold a vendetta and hold a grudge against someone else, and it's not a criminal offence and it's not criminal. Anyone can stay bitter and want to make their lives hell and impact their children in a negative way by stopping them having a relationship with their dad or whatever. And vice versa in any situation. They need to be put on a boat, left in the middle of the sea, right, in like cages, and then left there for like 30 days, and then by themselves, and then just make sure that time to reflect. Give them a Bible or something. Give them something to read that's going to be beneficial to them, to help them think about things, and then let them, and then hopefully they change and appreciate that what they've got, what they don't have, but what they do have, and how by being nice, it's actually beneficial to the world and beneficial to your children. And the people you influence. And if they can't do that, then leave them out there. That's what I say. I went to the police. It was accused of tit for tat. Yep, there you go. That's exactly it. I remember actually. This is it. So I remember. Someone saying to me, "Oh, they called the police. They were sat in the car. They were sat in a car, like calling his girlfriend was calling the police, saying that X, Y, and Z had happened, and they hadn't made a move at all. They were sat in the car together. The partner, the mum, phones up during this time, calls 999. They've got like next thing you know, they've got like fucking 5-6 police cars and a meat wagon flying down the road to get her, and these are the ones who made the phone call in the first place. And it's like, what? How does that work? But then again, 97% of men are guilty of domestic violence or domestic abuse. Just put it out there. 30 days in a cage at sea. I think it's harsh but fair. I think we need to bring back, maybe not capital punishment, but maybe if we would like hang people like in the streets or whatever if they've done something wrong, like that'd be better than letting people get away with what they get away with. We're going back into those sort of times and ages, aren't we? We're going back into those sort of things. Like, look how women are being like selling their fannies for $5 and whatever. Yeah, like they have to do it to live, and no one's complaining about it when they're watching porn, are they? But the point is, they complain about it when they're going through family court, and they complain about it. And I wouldn't like it if I wouldn't be too keen on the idea if my ex-wife was doing that and my daughter was in the room. Mind you, she's probably done worse. Well, it probably has actually. Anyway. I don't know if I've answered anyone's stuff I had, but yeah, she says she'll tell the court I can have him every weekend, which is exactly what I had, and she won't let me have him until she's had it in court order. I haven't asked for that. Maybe I think with you also, you probably need to ask for a little bit more. I think well, depending if you can do it or not. But yeah, yeah. Absolutely, keep at it. Right, because I've got lots to do, and I'm going to try and find the cat, but I'll try not to kick it. And I'm going to love everyone and leave them. But I do feel better now after talking like that now. Yeah. But yeah, I'll tell you what though, right, next door, right, like, it's not like they're partying. They're not even partying. They're not even partying at all. They're just talking very loud. But mind you, I talk quite loud. So mind you, when I'm doing this, they must be like, oh my God, he's talking again. Mind you, I talk all the time. I actually do talk all the time to the cats. While I'm talking on the phone to someone. So I'm actually, I'm complaining. I'm complaining. But really, fuck it. They've got every right to complain. I'm always on the phone. If I'm not on the phone, I'm talking to the cats. If I'm not talking to the cats, I'm talking to myself. Or I'm talking to somebody on the phone. And it's quite a deep voice I have, so I must echo through their walls. Love to you all, everybody. Peace and love, and Lada's glove. Boom.